Реактивный.
One of the most common debates around the world is who is winning in Ukraine. Now, the U.S. representative in the region, retired General Keith Kellogg, has a clear answer. If Putin was winning, he'd be in Kyiv. If he was winning, he'd be west of the Dnieper River. If he was winning, he'd be on Odessa.
If he was winning, he'd be in Kyiv. If he was winning, he'd be west of the Dnieper River. If he was winning, he'd be on Odessa. If he was winning, he would have changed the government. Russia is, in fact, losing this war. Now, they may make movements and say, so, well, they're advancing in the Donbass region and Donetsk, but if you consider advancing moving by meters, not miles, well, then, okay, that's successful. But at the cost they're having, it's enormous. And I don't think people truly appreciate it. It's a number. But the numbers they have lost, when you're talking dead and wounded, well over 1 million, they left Afghanistan after losing 18,000. We left Vietnam after losing 65,000. They've lost over 1 million dead or wounded. These numbers are World War II level numbers when you think about it. They're stunning in the loss. And this is in their first line units that they came and tried to take Kyiv with a little over four years ago. Those first line units are gone. So they've gone through a second or a third or fourth iteration of wartime commanders. They're pulling tanks out of mothballs, out of museums, to put on the battle line. They can't operate in large movements because the Ukrainians will kill them. And the Ukrainians are fighting back.
Another proof that Russia is losing the war is the help that the supposedly mighty country is receiving from its allies like Iran and North Korea. Further evidence is the presence of Chinese mercenaries fighting on the Russian side. A Russian soldier documents the recruitment of Putin's army with mercenaries from China who came to fight against the nationalists. One of them is a drone operator, the other a sapper engineer.
We have dear guests from China visiting our training center, but they are not just guests, they are participants in a special military operation. One of them is an operator, the other is a sapper engineer. They are preparing to deliver fire damage to nationalist forces, and today we will get to know them. What is your name?
我来自中国，名字叫李斌。我叫肖星星。
How do you find the special military operation? How do you like it here in our drone forces?
我们都曾经在前线作战。
What do you think will be the outcome of the special military operation?
我们在无人机部队过得很好。是的。
How do you find the Russian army in general? Good, bad? Do you like it?
我们认为这场战争的胜利一定属于伟大的俄罗斯军队。Yes， 是的。他的少。我们向俄罗斯和萨拉托夫市的居民致以特别军事行动的问候。我们一定会胜利，胜利一定属于我们。俄罗斯和中国永远在一起。乌拉。
Спасибо.
Satellite images have confirmed the destruction of the Russian RLK-1 Navigation of the South radar, which was attacked on September 4th in the Rostov region. The Dnipro-Osint telegram channel published the images. They show that one of the domed antenna arrays of the system was destroyed as a result of the strike. The system was located on the territory of a former air defense unit, Military Unit 65312, and was part of the air traffic control system in southern Russia. Its primary functions include the detection and tracking of aircraft, guidance and coordination of flight routes, radio technical support of flights, aviation radio communications, and fixed satellite communication. Recently, the Ukrainian Defense Forces have intensified attacks on Russian radar systems in an effort to degrade radar coverage in certain areas, primarily around the temporarily occupied Crimea. For instance, on September 5, 2025, Ukrainian intelligence drone operators struck Russian Podlyat and Nebo-M air defense radars in Crimea. A strike drone hit the 55-6M Nebo-M radar while it was being relocated between positions, destroying the section carrying the folded antenna. Disabling the 48Ya 6K1 Podlyat radar required 2 kamikaze drones. The first missed due to the complexity of control, but the second struck precisely at the phased antenna array of the system. At the end of August 2025, the Special Forces of the Department of Active Operations of the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine struck a Russian radar system that is part of the S-400 surface-to-air missile system in Crimea. A drone hit the antenna array of the radar system, which is highly sensitive to damage. With high probability, the installation was rendered inoperative. Disabling this radar station is part of an ongoing campaign to suppress air defenses in Crimea, overseen by the primary Phantoms Special Unit. Its operators use strike drones equipped with satellite communication systems, which has enabled them to hit targets at previously unreachable distances. Video of a Russian Garin-3 kamikaze drone flying over the Chernihiv region. The Garin-3 is a jet-powered suicide drone used by Russia, faster, up to 600 kilometers per hour, reaching higher altitudes, 9 kilometers, carrying a much heavier warhead than the older Garin-2, and harder to shoot down with typical mobile air defenses. President Trump: Europe is buying oil from Russia. I don't want them to buy oil.
Has to get together. Europe has to get together and do it. Look, Europe they're my friends, but they're buying oil from Russia. So we can't be expected to be the only ones that are, full bore. But Europe is buying oil from Russia. I don't want them to buy oil. And the sanctions that they're putting on are not tough enough. And I'm willing to do sanctions, but they're going to have to toughen up their sanctions commensurate with what I'm doing. Just to clarify, you wouldn't move ahead.
U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson says it's long past time for tough sanctions on Russia, calling the moment desperate times demanding desperate measures. He expressed strong congressional support and a willingness to work with the White House and Senate, but emphasized no action will be taken without alignment with Trump.
And when Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, says, as he did this weekend, now is the time for Russia sanctions, President Trump opened the door on tariffs against India and China as a way to create economic leverage to end the war in Ukraine. Where do you stand on all that?
Well, listen, I do believe that desperate times call for desperate measures, and I think appropriate sanctions on Russia are far overdue. I mean, I think there's a big appetite for that in Congress, so we're willing to work with the White House and our Senate colleagues in the House to get that done, and I'm anxious to do it personally.
And this is fascinating because it's reportedly a video of Chinese air defense shooting down a meteorite. If confirmed, this would be the first recorded instance of military technology successfully targeting and destroying a celestial body entering the atmosphere. The importance of such an event goes far beyond military symbolism. It raises questions about the potential for nations to develop defenses not only against missiles and drones, but also against natural threats from space. Meteorites and small asteroids have always been unpredictable dangers, and the idea of being able to intercept them could reshape global security and disaster prevention strategies. It also signals that advanced tracking, targeting, and interception systems are reaching levels of precision once thought impossible. If proven true, this development would mark a historic moment in both defense technology and planetary safety, opening a new chapter in humanities to confront threats from the skies.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.